Hey y'all, welcome to my new series, My Book, My Thoughts, Read Along With Me, where I will be reading through my book and giving you the behind the scenes scoop on what I was thinking when I wrote it, character inspirations, and things you may have missed. So today, I will be starting with the prologue in chapter 1. So grab a drink, get comfy, and let's get into it. So we are reading the prologue in chapter 1 of Show You No Mercy, the first book in my series. And don't mind my dog. I had to put her there because she won't stop barking. Getting on my damn nerves. And excuse me, I will not be doing voices because that ain't gonna work for me. But this is the prologue. Hurry up and open the damn safe, Nora yelled. Her brown eyes appeared cold and sharp as she stared at the man in front of her. She held her Glock 19 to his head as he put the code into the safe. Warren stood by the window and peeked through the blinds. He wiped the sweat dripping from under his ski mask and down to his neck. His hand shook as he gripped onto the 9mm handgun, holding his chest as his heart raced. Y'all clearly don't know who y'all messing with, Mickey ranted. Nora shoved the gun into the back of his head. Shut up and put the money in the bag. And I'll take those too. She pointed to the 10 bags of coke that sat in the corner of the safe. Child. I ain't never held a gun in my life. We need to go now, Warren pleaded. This was a bad idea. You better listen to your friend, Mickey laughed. He turned around and threw two bags in front of Warren and Nora's feet. He raised his hands as if they were cops. Y'all won't even make it a block before my men get y'all. I heard that. Warren's eyes widened. Let's just go, he said, trembling. Nora picked up one bag and gestured for Warren to pick up the other. You really think somebody's scared of you? You just got robbed, nigga. He laughed. She laughed. This is why I could never do my own audiobook, because the amount of mistakes I done made that I'm definitely gonna cut out of this. But I'm just saying, this is a lot of work. Anyways, Warren turned around swiftly at the sound of a soft voice calling Mickey Daddy. He blinked rapidly, trying to process what he was seeing. His heart raced as he attempted to hide his gun from the child. We can't do this. Nora glared at the little girl as she ran towards Mickey. Mickey hid his daughter behind him. Just take the shit and go. Don't do this in front of my daughter. I'm warning you. He is right. Come on. What the hell are you doing? Warren questioned. Nora held her gun up and directed it at Mickey. If we don't handle this now, he will kill us. There's no walking away. Okay, so Nora thinks she big and bad. Big and bad. But my thing is why? It's you see he got a daughter there, so why not just leave and just let it go? You know what I'm saying? Because that's just messed up, because I'd be damn. Imagine you and your friend robbing somebody and the person has a child there, right? There's no age here, but Nora was stupid, because I'm not about to do this in front of nobody's child. Not at all. He doesn't even know who we are, Warren pleaded. We don't have to do this. We got what we came for. Mickey gazed into Nora's sharp brown eyes. He laughed. Mercy? Mercy Cooper? I should have known you would come for me one day. Warren was confused. What is he talking about? Mickey continued. Warren, you could take the ski mask off. You the only dumbass to go along with her plans. Didn't you get a scholarship to play ball at a D1 college? If I get a scholarship to a college, I'm not robbing nobody. What's not clicking? What's not clicking, Steven? And that's crazy. I be watching movies and stuff like that, and reading different things that happen to these guys that get scholarships to go to these D1 colleges, and they be out here committing crimes. Sir, you was about to go into the NBA and now look you in jail. Stupid. Nora and Warren removed their masks. Well, see, now we have to kill you, Nora insisted. She directed her gun at him, knowing that there was only one way out of this situation. Warren followed her lead. Warren and Nora's finger hovered over the trigger. Pop! I don't know why the fuck I wrote that. Mickey pushed his daughter to the ground before a bullet ripped into his face. Nora screamed for Warren to run, but his body had frozen. Warren felt the room spin, watching Mickey bleed out and his daughter screaming for help. That's messed up. But who pulled the trigger, though? Because they both was hovering... both their fingers was hovering over the trigger. Nora grabbed Warren's forearm and dragged him outside to the back of the house. We have to split up, Nora said. That's where they messed up. Because what I'm not going to do is split up nowhere. Because if I'm going down, you going down with me. I say this all the time. Do not commit no crime with me. Because I'm not going to jail. I promise you. Do not commit a crime with me. I'm not going to jail for you. You going to prison. And I'm going to be eating McDonald's that the cops gave me. I don't care. I'm snitching. Anyways. Are you crazy? Mickey is dead. If anybody finds out it was us, Nora interrupted. Just calm down. We will meet up at the mall parking lot like we always do. Just keep your head down and your mouth shut and everything will go according to plan. Killing Mickey wasn't part of the plan. Oh, really? Parking lot in 40 minutes, Nora reminded Warren and ran off. Warren a punk. Because, okay, this is my thing, right? So, no, I'm not, don't commit a crime with me because I'm going to snitch. But if I do happen to accidentally commit a crime, I'm not going to be like a wuss about it, you know? I'm like, okay, like, let's do this. Like, if we're going to do it, let's do it. But Warren a punk. He was a punk. He looked like he was ready to cry. He seemed like he was ready to cry. But again, don't do no crime with me because you're going to prison. Warren's strong body odor lingered into his nostrils, causing him to pinch his nose. He rubbed his clammy hands as he continued to walk, stumbling from the weakness in his knees. Warren held his head down at the side of a police car. He released a breath as a car drove by. That's how I be. I don't know if anybody ever does this, but when I be driving and I drive past a police car, I be looking back in my mirrors, like, damn near holding my breath. Like, even if I didn't do nothing, I'm just like, child, please don't pull me over. Don't pull me over. I can't. Warren looked back when the police car came to a stop. Without thinking, he took off running. Why? He was one hell of a runner, but the drugs and money in his bag slowed him down. He ran 6 blocks before he was surrounded by police cars. Damn. He stood in the middle of the street with dozens of guns pointed towards him. Can you imagine how he felt? Like, imagine you running for your life because you know you done did something illegal. And now you in the middle of the street with guns pointed at you. I wouldn't even know how to process that. Like at the time, Warren and Nora were like 16, 17 years old. So I can't imagine, being a black boy and having guns pointed at you. The police lights and sirens caused the neighborhood to come outside. The whole neighborhood to come outside. Warren looked around. Beads of sweat rushed down his cheek. He caught a glimpse of his mother and brother screaming at the officers not to shoot. Warren's eyes filled to the brim with tears as he placed the bag slowly onto the ground. The officers screamed for him to get on the ground, and he did. As he placed his hands behind his head, a flood of tears gushed down his cheeks. He was tackled to the ground by multiple officers as a resident screamed. Nora stood at the corner of the block, in direct view of Warren's face being shoved into the concrete. Warren glared at her with bloodshot eyes, and she quickly disappeared into the crowd. Could never. Let me tell you something. Again, I'm going to say this again. Don't do no crime with me. You see me getting arrested and you just going to disappear into the crowd? I don't give a damn. You better come over here and help me. You better come tell him this is your idea. But you know what? Nora is selfish. Selfish. She don't think about nobody but her damn self. Crazy. Okay, now we are moving into a new scene. Still in the prologue. I realize my prologue is long as hell. It could have been a chapter, but that's besides the point. Okay. In the gallery, the audience grew quiet. The whooshing sound from the air conditioner spread throughout the courtroom. The bailiff watched people trickle into the crowded space. Some people sat on the wooded seats, while others were forced to stand. This was the biggest case that had ever hit their community. Since Warren's arrest, there had been protest after protest, but the evidence against him was solid. He was caught with 5 bags of cocaine, over $100,000, and a murder weapon. It was an open and shut case. When it came to the justice system, Warren was just another black thug. Child, have we not seen this already? Multiple freaking times. The audience shifted in their seats as the jury returned. The chairs creaked as the jury took their seats. The high ceiling caused Nora to feel as if she was sinking into her seat. She had the nerve to show up to the court case. Even in the packed courtroom, she heard her heart beating out of her chest. I bet you did. Nora watched the jurors take their seats. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have we reached a verdict? Judge Fillmore asked. The juror foreman stood up. Nora placed her hands on her seat and leaned forward. She closed her eyes when she felt the water trap them. Oh, but now you want to cry? Now you want to cry? You left that man for dead. Now you want to cry? Warren's stomach fluttered. He wiped his sweaty palms on his gray suit. He closed his eyes and took a common breath. He glanced back at his mother, Paulette, and his brother, Red. Paulette clutched her Bible close to her chest while Red comforted her. We have, Your Honor, the foreman shared. Nora glanced at Warren as he stood up beside his attorney. His eyes continued to water. And what is the verdict? Judge Fillmore questioned. Your Honor, we find the defendant, Warren Lafayette, guilty of robbery in the first degree. The audience gasped and looked at one another with widened eyes, causing Judge Fillmore to bang her gavel. Quiet. Please continue. We find the defendant, Warren Lafayette, guilty of burglary in the second degree. Warren felt a sudden weakness in his limbs, almost collapsing. With help from his attorney, he was able to keep his balance. He felt a soft hand from behind on his back. His eyes connected with Paulette with tears in her eyes. We find the defendant, Warren Lafayette, guilty of murder in the second degree. Silence filled the courtroom. As he held back tears, Warren heard his heartbeat in his ears. His mother let out a loud scream as she gripped onto Red. Red stood up with his mother still attached to his forearm and grabbed Warren's shoulder. Warren's body froze after hearing the guilty verdict. I can imagine being in court and like I'm on trial and they tell me that I'm guilty of anything. I don't give a damn what it was. Murder, burglary, tax evasion, money laundering. I don't care what it is. Imagine you in court and you hear the word guilty. I would be shook it. Guilty? I know you fucking lying. He stumbled back from the grip of his brother's strong hold and turned around to a warm embrace from Paulette and Red. Warren glared at Nora over Red's shoulder. Nora gasped for air, trying to control her breathing. She gripped her nails under the seat once again. Warren and Nora locked eyes. Red looked in Nora's direction and blocked Warren's view of her. Don't worry about Shorty. Don't worry about Shorty. She'll be dead before the morning, he whispered. Ooh. Ooh. Warren faced the judge with his arms dropped to his side in defeat. Warren Lafayette, you have been tried by a jury of your peers and found guilty of your crimes. Do you wish to say anything before sentence is imposed? Judge Fillmore asked. Nora eased out of her seat and headed towards the double doors of the courtroom. She paused and took one last look at Warren. Warren better than me. She wasn't leaving that courtroom. She was going to prison with me. Warren turned to the jurors. I didn't kill anyone. I swear it wasn't me. I didn't want to do any of this, he pleaded. Okay, that's enough, Mr. Lafayette, Judge Fillmore said. Why would you do this to me? Warren screamed. Miss Springer, get control of your client, Judge Fillmore demanded. Warren's attorney attempted to calm him down. He made a rash move towards the jury box, and was tackled by 2 court officers and was pinned to the ground. Paulette screamed for the officers to stop, but her voice went unnoticed. The courtroom became chaotic from the public as they began barreling towards the jurors, uttering screams. With his face pierced to the ground once again, Warren caught a quick glimpse of Nora. I'm going to get you back, Warren said furiously. In an attempt to help his brother, Red was met with pistols in his face. He backed up calmly with his hands raised. Get him out of my courtroom, Judge Fillmore demanded. Nora ran out of the courthouse to the nearest garbage can and vomited uncontrollably. She flopped down on the courthouse steps and sank her head into her hands. The sun faded away slowly as someone stood over her. Child, Nora about to get her ass beat. Celine stood over her wearing fitted denim jeans with a brown blouse complementing her light skin. I don't know if I should be impressed or disappointed. She stood with her arms crossed over her petite chest. He was your best friend, Nora. Our friend. How could you set him up like that? He loved you like you were his sister. Nora bit her nails. Cece, I didn't have shit to do with this. He got caught, not me. Nora stood up facing Celine. That's crazy. That's supposed to be your friend, like your best friend, like your brother. And you gonna say he got caught, not me? Whoo, child. Who need enemies when you got friends like this? You and I both know Warren is not a killer. So you tell me what happened that night. Who shot Mickey? Celine asked. Nora's forehead glistened. Warren did, but it was an accident. He didn't know that Mickey would die, she admitted. Celine's face twisted. I don't believe nothing you say. Warren is not a street kid. You are. Oop, shade. He was going to make it out the hood and you put him in this situation. You should be the one going to jail, not him. That part. Thank you, Celine. Somebody with some common sense. Nora rolled her eyes. Get the hell out of my face. I don't have time for you and your BS. Celine and Nora watched as Paula and Red exited the building. Red gazed at Nora with flared nostrils. You might want to find a new location. Brooklyn is not safe for you anymore, Celine warned as she walked down the steps. Nora grabbed her forearm. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Celine looked back. Red put a price on your head before the verdict was even called. And if you weren't my friend, I would have killed you myself. Ooh. Clock that tea. Celine left Nora standing alone on the steps. Nora looked all around and gripped her bag so tight that her knuckles turned white. Yeah, 'cause she scared now. You should be. 'Cause you played yourself. Okay, we are now moving into another scene. Same prologue. Okay, I can see how this prologue was long as hell. Yeah, I won't be doing that again. Nora ran up the steps to her home and shut the front door. Her brother Milan and her mother Laverne waited for her return. Why would you go down to that courthouse? Laverne yelled. I just wanted to support Warren, Nora mumbled as she fiddled with her fingers. Laverne threw a glass of wine across the room, causing Nora to flinch. Mercy, you are the damn reason he is going to jail, and don't give me that crap about you not setting him up. We all know you did, and now Red has a price on your head, you stupid little girl. Yikes. I'm afraid of Laverne, child. I wouldn't want her to be my mama. Milan stepped in front of Laverne. Ma, chill out. Listen, it's a lot of shit that's about to pop off in the next few days, so me and Ma think it's best that you leave Brooklyn for good. Why? Why was that a good idea? To leave Brooklyn for what? Like, I get it. Nora, she's... I wouldn't say that she was a bad child. She was just misunderstood. Nora felt a tingling sensation through her body and tears welled in her eyes. You sending me away? Please, I'm sorry. I'll do better. I want you out of my house. I am not going to live in fear because of the stupid shit you do, Laverne shouted. Nora looked up at Milan as tears raced down her cheek. Please, Milan. She hugged him tightly. Milan pushed her back slowly. I got you a one-way trip on a Greyhound to go upstate to Buffalo, and you will stay with Aunt Maddie. From now on, you only go by your first name, Nora. No more Mercy. I promise it will only be for a few months until I handle Red, and I will come get you myself. Nora's shoulders dropped, now realizing the danger she was in. As much as she wanted to stay in Brooklyn, she knew she needed to disappear. A few months doesn't seem so long, she thought. She thought. So now we are going to get into chapter 1. But before we do, let me tell you right now, this is 15 years later, the present day. And because Nora has driven me crazy in this prologue, your girl went and got herself a drinky drink. I hope you got one too. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. The leaves fell from the tree and changed from beautiful yellow and orange to dirty brown. They were soggy from the morning showers and the heavy wind that caused most of the trees to collapse. The fall weather always seemed so beautiful and relaxing to Nora, but she was too preoccupied with her own thoughts to even notice. Nora's unique style complemented her dark skin. She loved everything blackety black, especially her clothes. She looked like the character from the movie Blade by the way she flipped her long black leather coat back. In a large, heavily wooded park on the outer area of Buffalo, New York, she stepped in muddy water, causing dirt to get all over her black combat boots. Shit, this is straight up disgusting, Nora snapped, pulling out a napkin to clean her boots. How much further? It's right through this path. It might be the worst possible day for someone to die, Tanner muttered. Tell me about it. Nora shook her head as she kicked a tree branch out of her way. Tanner Nash was tall and slender. Most people would think that he was a pushover, but whenever he appeared, his presence was felt. He often wore his brown penny loafers with his blue khaki pants and a dark gray blazer. His short, wavy hair was unkempt and wild like a furry rabbit. He didn't have any sense of style or clearly a mirror. So, when I was creating Tanner Nash, I was thinking of every cop show, detective type show that I've ever watched. The number one show ever, Law and Order SVU. Because I love cop shows. So when I was making Tanner Nash, I wanted him to look like a real detective. So for those of you who may not have seen my video, I want to go back. I made a video of all the actors of who would play who from the Show You No Mercy series. So you can see who I picked out. Once they reached the scene, a woman laid lifeless on the ground. Nora and Tanner put on black gloves before examining the scene. Nora watched as the medical examiner examined the body. Excuse me, I don't like being hovered over, Gabby ordered with discomfort in her tone. Ooh, shade. You heard that? Shade. I don't like to be hovered over. Girl, who you talking to? I'm a detective. Watch your mouth. My apologies. I don't think we've met. I'm Detective Nora Woods, and this is my partner, Tanner Nash. I know who you are, Gabby snapped. Shade. Damn, people just be throwing shade left and right at Nora. Oh my God, but that's what she get. Karma is a mother. That's what she get. Shoot. Tanner and Nora exchanged looks. So what can you tell us about the victim? Tanner asked. He squatted down to get a better view. Could this have been caused by the trees falling? Not likely. If you look at her neck, you can see the strangulation marks. Gabby lifted the woman's dress, and she has cuts and bruises on her inner thigh. Nora looked away from the woman's body, unable to control her upset stomach. She gagged at the sight of the woman laid out on the ground. She'd always been able to handle the brutal way in which the victims were murdered, but today was different. Why? Why was today different? My thing is, you gagging at a woman being lifeless on the ground, but when your ass was killing Mickey, when y'all was killing Mickey, right? You wasn't gagging then. You was big and bold. You was like, yeah, we gonna do this. We gonna kill you and we gonna take your drugs and your money. What's up? Girl, bye. Gabby and Tanner glanced over at Nora. Are you okay? Tanner asked, concerned. Nora nodded her head yes, forcing herself to turn back around. She noticed that the woman's fingernails had blood inside of them. She has blood in her fingernails. It must be the perps. Could this have been a sexual assault? Nora removed her gloves and placed her hands in her pocket. Possibly, but I'll know more once I bring her back to the lab. Once I get any additional information, I'll give you a call, Detective Nash. Gabby said as she continued to observe the body. Gabby is straight up like, Nora, I don't mess with you, girl. Like, why are you even here? Like, I'm not calling you to tell you what's up with this victim. I'm gonna call Tanner. Yeah. Shade. Moments later, Tanner and Nora walked back to the street view. Tanner noticed how tense Nora became. How does it feel being back on the job? Tanner asked. She picked up her coffee and took a big gulp. Did you not pick up on the tone of her voice? I did. I knew I shouldn't have come back. Well, of course she knows who you are. She knows who I am too. I'm sure it wasn't about that. Nora rolled her eyes at him. Yeah, except your face wasn't plastered on every news channel for shooting an unarmed black man. People have been berating me and calling me a sellout for being a black female detective shooting a black man. Who, child? That's a story in itself. That is a story in itself, and we're not even gonna get into that. But why you shooting an unarmed black man, Nora? I see some things have not changed. It's your first day back after 8 months. Of course, it would take time for people to get readjusted to seeing you. You beat the case, so what are you worried about? I may have beaten the case, but Internal Affairs Bureau isn't done with me. Not for a long shot. I'm more worried about my daughters and my husband. Oh, daughters and husband? Where's Warren? Where's Warren? Daughter and husband? Daughter. She didn't say daughter. She said daughters and husband. Child. This has been a lot for them to deal with, and I haven't made it any easier. No, you haven't. Tanner started the engine. Sage and Avery will be fine, and you know Henry can handle himself. Don't sweat it. Nora stared at the dashboard as she tugged onto her bottom lip. I did everything that they taught us in the academy. I followed procedure. He was robbing a store. I saw a gun. With the closed fist, she banged on the dashboard. Fuck. I just wanted to say that. Tanner rubbed her shoulder. Listen, you did what needed to be done. I'm just sorry I wasn't there to protect you. No matter what, you know I will always have your back. Whatever you need. Do you have a time machine hidden anywhere? She smirked. They laughed, easing the tension in the car. All right, we are going to a different scene. Still chapter 1. Back at the station, the flat screen TV on the wall was loud enough to burst everyone's eardrum. They spend more money on shit like that instead of doing their job. It was a regular day in the office. Tanner was occupied with completing paperwork from a previous case. Nora picked on the skin of her nails, trying to distract herself from her racing thoughts. Why can't people understand I was just doing my job? Tanner's constant tapping snapped Nora back to reality. Just as she was about to try to do some work, she received a phone call from Richmond Parker Academy. Hello, Detective Woods. The person on the other end spoke a few words, and Nora began tapping her fingers on her desk, releasing her stress. She did what? Nora brushed her hand across her face, allowing it to rest under her chin. Thank you. I'll be there as soon as I can. Tanner looked up from his typing and made eye contact with her. Nora grabbed her jacket. The problem child. Do we have a Nora 2.0? Nora hissed. Cover for me. Don't I always? Tanner chuckled. As Nora was exiting the station, Captain Beck approached her, assuming that she had gotten a call from Gabby. I was just coming to let you know that Gabby found something with the Jane Doe from the park this morning, but I guess you already got the call. Nora was uninterested in what Beck had to say. When it came to her daughters, nothing and no one was going to get in the way of her motherly duties. Okay. Captain, I have an emergency at my daughter's school. Can Nash take it? Beck opened his mouth to speak, but held back. He twisted his neck as his veins strained against his skin. In my office, Woods, he said with a harsh tone. I couldn't be no cop. I gotta go. There's something happening at my child's school. This could wait. I couldn't be no cop. Nora walked behind Captain Beck as if she had been called to the principal's office. Pretty much. Captain Beck's office was surrounded by pictures of his kids. He was a very family-oriented guy that spent most of his time in his office. Nora always knew how to make him break a sweat that made his toupee slip. I could imagine how he looked. Nora flopped down in his chair and leaned back with her legs wide open. Nora was a round-away kind of detective. She never really took Beck's threats seriously because although she was rough, she knew she was the best damn detective he ever had. Okay, representing Brooklyn, period. Because you know how we do. Sit up in that damn chair, Captain Beck demanded. He was disgusted with her behavior and disregard for her job. Nora placed her hands on the arms of the chair and pushed herself up straight. Happy? She asked, mocking Beck. What the hell do you think you are doing? Do you realize how many strings I had to pull to get you back here? I just haven't Beck interrupted. It's always something with you and I've had it. It is your first day back on the job. You are being watched like a hawk. Your every move is being scrutinized. And not to sound like a cliche, but everything you do and say will and can be used against you. Beck took a seat, placing his elbows on the table. Nora ignored Beck as she always did and crossed her arms in front of her chest. He pulled out a file and threw it in front of her. Who's Warren Lafayette? Oh! Wasn't I just saying what Warren at? Wait a minute. Okay, before we get to that, my thing is, if you get pulled in by your boss into his office and he's reprimanding you and you sitting there, I'm gonna do what I wanted. Fired. But anyways, Warren, why does she have a... Hold on. Nora's silence echoed. Have you been going through my desk? She jumped up from the seat, clearing her dry throat. You have no right searching through my things. I took it out before IAB searched your desk. Beck stood up to look Nora in her eyes and leaned over his desk. I did you a favor. But I am wondering who this Lafayette person is. I don't want to know how you got his file. I just want to know why you were looking into a case from 15 years ago. That is none of your damn business. The tone, Nora, the tone. I wish I would talk to my boss like that. Fired. Beck walked around his desk and stood an inch away from Nora. It is my business if you are doing anything to jeopardize this unit. I went to hell and back for you. They wanted you to burn for this and I saved you. She tugged on the bottom of her coat as a frown grew across her face. It has been hard on my family in these past few months. I am trying my best to find some peace in this situation, and as for the file, he is a childhood friend of mine, and I wanted to investigate his case to maybe find evidence of his innocence. Thank you for your honesty. I thought you were ready to be back in the field, but I was wrong, he uttered. What is that supposed to mean? Beck sat back at his desk and shuffled some papers around, incapable of keeping eye contact with Nora. I'm putting you on desk duty. I will be referring you to the department head psychiatrist for a psychological assessment and recommend counseling before you can return to regular duty. You can leave now. Shit. Nora felt a tingle rush through her body. She stormed out of his office and slammed the door behind her. Everyone in the station turned their attention to her as she walked out. And that is the end of Chapter 1. That's a wrap on this prologue and Chapter 1. I hope you enjoyed this read-along. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What stood out to you? What do you expect to happen? And if you can't wait to listen to the entire books, it is available on Amazon. It's on audiobook, it's on my website, and it's on my TikTok shop. All the links will be provided in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification button because you don't want to miss another read along. Peace.